both home and abroad. Those who are listening online, welcome to another session of Policing with You. I am Sergeant Matthew Maguire. We continue this week the second part of our topical issue of littering of vehicles. And so today, this morning, as I had promised you, that I would be joined with a representative from the Health and Environment Department as well as the Solid Waste Management Department, because what we are doing is a joint effort. And this is also part of the strategic pillars of the Commissioner Policing Plan to collaborate with other government agencies. And so while we wait for the representative from Solid Waste, I will just allow our guest from the Department of Health and Environment to introduce himself and outline roles, responsibilities, and duties, and any pertinent information that he finds necessary to share with you, the listeners. Good morning.
Pleasant good morning to everyone. My name is Mr. Joseph Markman, Environmental Health Officer for Sanitary District number 8. No, that spans from Keys to Lodgepole. So the Environmental Health Officer for each district is responsible for an area, and a piece of the island, if you must say, which we call a sanitary district. No,
and so every district have a different
assigned environmental health officer,
right?
Because you sort of would have been in my same district. I think that's how we became intertwined in this exercise that we are now going through.
Yes, and I must say that from my experience, because my last time being at Keon District, I had a very good working relationship with Miss Richardson. She was the district officer, and I remember we did some work during those times. That was back in 2017, thereabout. Yes.
So just to outline some of the responsibilities of the environmental health officer. Now, I know most persons would, from the long time era, they would have been called walking Joes or health inspectors or public health inspectors, but all of it is the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah. So some of the duties that we hold are some of the duties that we do under the sanitary districts, are anything from premises inspections, restaurant inspections, just making sure altogether that the entire district is sanitary pleasing and that everything is good in the district health-wise, as well as, making sure that everything is safe for the members of the community and the members of the district.
Right. And so you operate from the Ministry of Health? From
the Ministry of Health, correct.
And so Health and Environment, they are the same? One of the same and different?
No. So I think the Ministry of Environment is different to the Ministry of Health. Okay. So we operate under the Chief Medical Officer, which would be under the Ministry of Health, Environmental Health.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you were speaking about the duties. Tell us a little more about the duties. How do you become active, engage the community, and what are the measures for failures, if there are any, and so on, and probably the legal aspect in terms of the authority from.
So when it comes to engaging with the community and engaging with the persons that live in the community, there are a number of different ways that the engagement happens.
Right.
Now, one of the most common ways is what we would call, getting a complaint. Just as the police would get a complaint, or we get an issue where, we have someone that's causing a nuisance, whether it's to a neighbor, whether it's to the entire community, whatever it has you. It can range anywhere from just having an overgrown yard to derelict vehicles to just, anything that can affect you as a nuisance. Anything that is a health nuisance towards you in the community. Some of the most commons are, like I said, derelict vehicles, overgrown yards, just to keep down rodent and rat infestation and things.
But you're speaking about unoccupied lands, or
A little bit of both.
yes,
Because
right.
we do have issues where even though the yard is occupied, it's not properly kept.
Right.
And even though you might think, you can't tell me how to keep my yard, that's a part of our job, that's a part of our duties, and there's laws that support us in doing that job.
Right.
Like you say, we use the nuisance regulations, and we abide under the Public Health Act. So there are certain laws and certain acts. I'm not going to go deep into the laws.
Right.
I'm going to leave that for
Yes,
you.
yes.
But there are some laws and some acts that help us to do the job that we're supposed to do. So everyone can be comfortable
Right.
in the environment that they live and in their homes.
Right.
So, like I said, wages anyway from that, it still goes to keeping the animal regulations, depending on where persons keep certain animals, livestock like pig and goat and sheep and things like that. They can become a nuisance if they're not in the right area, as well as not taken care of properly.
Right. Generally, the police, I know that there are some regulations or some governmental agency where within their own act, the police within that act is considered ex officio officer, like the Litter Abatement Act.
So the police would be a litter warden.
Right. The police is a litter warden. The Solid Waste Management Act. But I find in the Public Health Act, in relation to those, even though that there is a responsibility with the police, because we get reports all the time about persons making complaint about the neighbors, either some unkept yard, some kind of some nuisance of some sort, and so the police is expected to respond. But I from my own research, I recognize that within the Public Health Act, there is not much authority from given to the police.
To the police from
in
that.
cases like that, that is when we will have to rely solely on.
No, well, I wouldn't. Well, in the law part of it, I would say solely. But when it comes to intercorporation or even
Right.
interworkings, we are able to work together.
And so this is where the initiative.
The initiative came
like
about
this,
for the
right.
like the derelict vehicles, especially in the area which we would have tackled first.
Yes.
Because we had quite a number of derelict vehicles, and I must commend some of the owners of those vehicles, because after we placed the notice and they realized that hey, this is a serious issue, some of them would have went and
Right.
moved their vehicles to a more suitable location. Some persons would have got their vehicles fixed
Right.
magically. Some persons would have dumped them.
Right.
Because because we did go to solid waste along with the driver.
And it's
also.
important to let our listener audience know that just Monday, right?
Yeah, Monday.
Time going by so quickly. Right, just Monday we were very active in terms of removing
Some vehicles.
some vehicles.
I think it's a total of what, 7 we removed?
About 7 vehicles we have removed and placed at the landfill. So it's really a working collaborative effort with the police, the health and environment district officer, and
Solid
also
waste,
the
yeah.
solid waste management. And have from your end, have there been any prosecution?
No prosecutions from
prosecution.
our end, no.
Well, we, in relation to those vehicles that we would have removed, we are contemplating prosecution because it is important that person, in as much as how the punitive action of the police with regards to violation of the law, that is not something that the police will prefer, but sometimes for deterrent and for cooperation. That is why within the law itself, it provides for a period. So the law provides for that period for you to really comply. And so if that time passes and there is no thing, then it's an expense on the government.
Exactly.
And so the government, there has to be a way for the government to recoup that expense.
And I don't
yes.
think we want to give the public a scapegoat or
Right.
a different a bad habit, as you would call it.
Yes.
For persons to just decide, okay, me want this, I
Right.
don't want to pay to move it, so I'm going to leave it here. Eventually the police or the health inspector
Right.
or the ministry is going to get it moved and take it to the dump.
Right.
And the expenses on them instead of me. We sort of don't want that. We want persons to understand that it's not something that you do. There's health implications, there's security implications.
Rodents, people can use these as hiding place opportunity to
Correct,
commit crime.
correct.
And so it is not only just the health factor that come into play, you have the crime prevention aspect of it, and also you want to make sure, because St. Kitts is a beautiful country,
Of
a
course.
beautiful place. I mean, when I came to St. Kitts 33 years ago, I went up to Timothy Hill, and that is where I fell in love with St. Kitts, just from the beauty,
But I can imagine
from
30
looking back at Bastille.
33 years ago,
And
Timothy
33,
Hill would have looked way
exactly.
a lot different
It
than
was
how
not
it is
so
now.
developed, and I was just fascinated by it. And sometimes we take for granted the beauty of a country that we have, and so efforts like these, that's why it requires that collaborative, that civic responsibility for us to maintain the health aspect, and to make sure that we have that national responsibility to ensure that we preserve that which we have, and so on. What we are going to do now, Mr. Mahmoud, we'll take a break. I'm sure that there are persons who are waiting to interact with you. And so we'll take a break at this point, and after we come back, we will, once we have a call, we will take the call and hear what our persons' concerns.
No problem.
Yeah.
Meet the Johnson family, living a good life. How are they able to afford all this? By switching their mortgage to National. And you too can take advantage of this great offer. Yes, National Bank's Switch Mortgage will make your dreams a reality with the lowest interest rates guaranteed. You will have more disposable income than ever before. Imagine the possibilities. National Bank Switch Mortgage makes all the difference. Come home to National Bank and get your Switch Mortgage today.
Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply.
What has you so happy? My home internet just got upgraded, and I didn't even have to pay for it. What? Which network you have? Flow. Now I can get the fastest fiber internet in St. Kitts and Nevis for the lowest price.
Fastest internet for the lowest price? What's the catch?
No catch, my friend. 100 megabits per second for just $135 a month. With Flow, you truly get the best internet experience around.
Switch to Flow for the fastest fiber internet at the lowest price. Visit a Flow store today. Conditions apply.
Welcome back. And so we are discussing the littering aspect of derelict vehicles, broken down vehicles. I have with me Mr. Joseph Markman. He is the Environmental District Officer for District number 8. And so if you have, we have a call, okay, we have 2 calls, Mr. Markman. So, all right, we'll take the first call.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm calling about, you have a house here in Challengers, a abandoned house, near to me. A part it fall down, and the other part, you need to come down all together. Because you drop, a part drop over, it's part to live in my yard, in Challengers.
Okay, so that's one whole point. We'll take another one, GQ, and then we could, we'll ask that one. I think the caller was raising the issue of how we treat abandoned buildings, dilapidated buildings.
No.
I think within the act there is
provisions for
demolition.
For demolition, yes.
Yeah.
So there are provisions that we could, if it's in the case of an abandoned house, and the owner or person who is in charge of that premises cannot be found, there is provisions after the fact to place a notice for a period of time, and if that time expires, then
I think it's 3 months.
Yeah,
3 months.
3 months. If that time's expired, then we are able to, by law, demolish the home.
Right.
Now, to speak to what the lady was talking about in Challengers, I would like to ask her to actually call the Old Road Health Center and relay that information to the officer that works in that district, with, you know, exact information, where it is, contact information for herself, so that the officer can actually get in touch with her and look at the situation and see how best the Environmental Health Department can go through and solve the situation for her.
Right.
And what we would like as well, persons with complaints, if you have information, just as the police would ask for information, if you know the owners or the occupants of these premises before, whether it be 10 years ago, 20 years ago, so that we could have some sort of lead to work on in getting to someone who is in control of the premises, or if there is no one, so we could take, you know, the necessary actions that we need to get the problem solved.
Right. And it's also important to note that I think it's in every community or district where there is a health center, there is a signed district officer.
District officer, yes.
So it's a matter of knowing who your district officer is.
For some districts where you have like 3 health centers or more than 1 health center, the officer has designated days where there are different health centers, so that the community persons can come out and reach out to them if needs be. But we are also always, you know, 1 call away. But I must say that we have office hours, because if we're in the office all day, we can't get any work done.
Right.
So the office hours are between 8 and 9 in the morning, or 3 and 4 in the afternoons.
Okay.
So those are the times that we could actually be there to answer a call or take someone in person and hear the grievances.
And the other times you're in the field.
We should be in the field, yes.
Yes, we have a caller and we have another call. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, morning.
I ain't telling you to do all your work. But when you can respond, please. Remember, a lot of people out there calling and we phone ringing out. Let me get to the topic. I am speaking on behalf of the whole country, and also I am representing two Commissioner of Sanitation, which is Jamdong and Eloy X. Them, they're supposed to get a big work to see about the place being kept clean. Now, what causes a lot of these rats in St. Kitts is from the moment they come here with the overseas style of cooking. Chicken, when people don't eat the chicken, they fling down the bone all over the place. And those bones, they encourage rat. But once there is food, rat gonna be around. Once there is no food for them, no rat gonna be around. So people, when they don't eat the chicken and whatever, they throw them in the right place and discard them over the solid waste. Now, it's 7 years since I haven't seen a walking job in my area. One morning, a woman walking job come up and tell me that she knew on the job and she familiarizing herself with the village. And she checking the yard to see who got in old tire and paint and pan. I said, that's right, that's your job, but none in here. But you see the pool of water you pass down there in the road? Check that first. I ain't see her again. And she getting paid. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much for listening.
Okay, thank you very much, caller. We have another caller? Right. Anything you want to say in response to that now?
Well, let me speak to the part I guess he was speaking about littering. The onus is on the public. I don't think that we could be everywhere 24/7.
Right.
And most of the times when people, you know, eating, liming, eating whatever they're eating, whether it be chicken, fish, whatever it is,
right,
there are a lot of public garbage receptacles all over St. Kitts. And sometimes it's just persons don't want to make that extra effort to throw the thing in the garbage.
Right.
We have that issue where you would find sometimes you go, you know, my drain cleaners would complain because we're also responsible for the drain cleaners of the areas. Drain cleaners would complain. Man, I just cleaned that this morning, and by the time you pass 4 o'clock, littered with garbage. And it's just, like I said, it's just the onus of the public to realize that the country is for all of us. And as you say, it's a beautiful country. And if we decide that you don't just don't even take the initiative to hold it in your car, hold it on you until you reach home, hold it until you find a garbage receptacle to throw it away. It's going to be issues like rodent infestation and things like that we're going to have to deal with. And then after the fact, it's going to be difficult to then deal with the source of that problem, because it's a lot of persons and you can't pinpoint who would have put that there,
right?
5-6 hours ago.
The aspect and so on. So I guess this is where you can relate to the challenge of policing,
which is correct. It's challenging policing an entire district every day. You can't be everywhere.
You can't see everything.
Every day. And it's on us to know our problem areas. Same thing as a police officer, you would know what problem areas and the areas you would have to visit as fast as.
So there is definitely a need for that sense of civic responsibility,
yes, correct,
and national pride,
correct,
to come into play. And so this might be a good opportunity to re-emphasize that, not only when during independence we feel patriotic and we feel excited because we are really reflecting on our independence and where we have come from and so on. But that would have taken a lot of effort, not only from the government but from everybody in terms of national building. And so that is perhaps maybe there need to be more infomercials, maybe more information sharing to garner that sense of national pride and that civic responsibility, where we seem to be slipping away with that, and that can help to deal with the problem. Another thing that we as a society tend to, we see for ourselves, and so we see things happening and we don't want to call out somebody on it. Neither we don't think we should be able to report to the authority, and so that one can know, well, hey, this is something serious, and if I do this, then it means therefore that I'll be held accountable. I can be held accountable.
Correct.
And so that is what we think we need to get back in relation to that. But we continue to do our best, just like the police. We continue to do policing as best as we can and as effective as we can. Similar to you as a district advisor, health officer, you try to do that.
And I think the initiative that you would have, because you're the one who set the precedence when it came to this initiative in terms of getting together and trying to deal with the derelict vehicle problem.
Right. Yes.
Because we realized that on our own, it wasn't happening.
Yes.
And now we came together, we have made significant strides.
Right.
Because I think from out of 35 vehicles that we have tagged.
I mean, when we went down there, we share notices left, right, and center.
Yeah, about 35 vehicles we would have tagged. And when we went back to the area on Monday to move the 7 that we moved out of the 35, I think it might have been about 10 or 12 that would have been left in the area.
Yeah, so we want, we have a call? 2 calls? Do we take those 2 calls quickly, GQ? See as though we missed one. We missed both? Alright, so let me take this opportunity really to, we have it, yes. Okay. Hello, good morning. You're on policing with you.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have this situation where my neighbors are rearing rabbits. And I've contacted the health department twice, and they came to the neighbors and I talked to them. But the neighbors are still in removing the rabbits now, and the health person didn't come back. So I'm calling to ask, like, what else can I do?
What
because
area?
The rabbits then have this stench at night, like this high stench. And it just disturbing the neighborhood.
Right.
And
Caller,
because
which area are you living?
They're trying to clearly at night now, like trying to get it started, but it's making it even worse.
Okay, caller, which area are you living?
St. Paul's.
St. Paul's. Okay.
So I would relay the information to the person that is, in charge of that district. And I'll try to...
I already, the president come to the neighbors twice.
Twice, okay. So let me look into what is happening when it comes to that situation, and then I'll let the person reach out to you again and let you know the way forward from the environmental health standpoint.
Okay, thanks.
Right. I to pick up from that, Mr. Markman, we have another one? Yes. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to Policing with you. Now, my question to you all. When you are take up the derelict vehicle off the road, the person got to pay? Because what happened, these people willfully left their vehicle, because they no go, they no more use, they no use for them. And they want somebody come and take them up as garbage. You understand? So if they got the vehicle on the road, and they ain't paying, you all take them up to dispose them wherever, solid waste or wherever. I believe that the person got to pay the money to dispose that vehicle wherever you all join it. And the next thing again, police officers, I got a problem with these young men, young boys and girls at middle age, you see them on the road. I remember when I was a little teenager coming up, I could not be on the road after 10, you got to do after 9, you're done in your house. Police gonna meet you after, what you doing on the road, where your mother? That's why we got so much link with rude young people up and down the place, because nobody there to ask them where the parents them after midnight on the road. All right then.
Yeah, thank you, Carl. Just to say to you that under the Prevention of Crime Act, that the law is clear, and so police officers have a responsibility if their children any under the age of 14 years after 10 in the night without the supervision of an adult, that the police have the authority to take that person into custody. So I think sometimes maybe there need to be a more enforcement aspect of that. In relation to your question as to whether there is a cost, once the police put a notice on the vehicle, a notice of removal, that the person is expected to comply with that notice within 7 days. And that is if it depends on the section or the particular law that is used, because in the Solid Waste Management Act, for example, you have three days, but there is a provision for 7 days under the Public Health Act, right? And so once the person doesn't comply, then the police now will remove the vehicle, and then that person is supposed to be prosecuted so that there can be some way of recuperating that expense. The funny thing about it is that in doing that, as the law stipulates, it is done in a civil act in terms of a civil court, and then the expense for the government to recoup the expense. So even with some of these, one of the things that we are contemplating is once the notices are fixed, we and there isn't compliance, we will go straight to the court and let the court make the order for removal. And then in that case, the person, that will be the cost of the person. That is something that we are contemplating, because we don't want to be a case where persons will now use different time in the dead of the night and those kind of things, and go and lodge or dispose derelict vehicles or litter in open spaces, and then because they figure that they are less likely to be seen, that they can do that. So those are things that we are looking at, but at the same time, we are really encouraging that civic responsibility to come back in terms of persons taking responsibility for themselves and do the right thing in terms of properly disposing the litter or the derelict vehicles. Now, Mr. Magman, as we wait for another call, if there is any, and the caller before was talking about rabbits and so on, because I find that in the villages there are lots of livestock raising in the villages, pigs, goat, sheep, name your fowl. What really, how restrictive is that? I know the law prohibits it.
No.
But when to answer the concern, to discuss the concern further of the caller before, that you report it, the environmental health officer goes, and then the person continue, the nuisance continue.
So the next step for the environmental health officer in a situation like that is to serve a summons. And the matter would be then taken to court, where the court would make the final ruling and the final decision of how the issue should be dealt with. Now, sometimes that course might take a little bit more time than we would like it to take. And we urge persons to, I know it's a nuisance and it may be difficult to deal with at times, but to have a bit of patience when it comes to that point, as we would have to wait for
trial date.
For the trial date and for that time to come for the...
So it's better to encourage that cooperation.
That cooperation.
Yeah.
It's always more effective to get that cooperation from the individual who is committing the offense, so that we can get a smooth transition into making things work for everyone. Now, I just spoke about the pigs and the goats and the sheep. There is an act that we use, which is the Keeping of Animal Regulations, which speaks to certain areas on Ireland where animals are allowed to be kept and areas that they are not allowed to be kept. Some of the areas that most affect persons are these residential areas.
Yeah.
So when we come and a complaint is made, we then go to the Keeping of Animals Regulation Act, and a notice is served to tell the person, hey, you would have to move these animals from this location as you are committing an offensive trade. So that's how we go about trying to get that issue solved.
Yes, and the reality is that you cannot address every issue at the same time or at once.
At once, yes.
That's the reality of it. So we just have to continue to make sure we address as much as we can. We were talking before we get the call, we were referring to the vehicles that we remove, and it is necessary to really commend those persons who have responded and complied, and we want to encourage more of that. And at the same time, that persons be very cognizant of the fact that if you have a vehicle, something that is in a dilapidated state, then it's best to deal with it as early
as possible
and as practicable as possible.
You would be surprised. We would be surprised the amount of the type of rodent infestation some of these vehicles have, from not just getting into the neighbor's premises or getting into your own premises, causing damage to other people's vehicles and things like that, because you have created a space where they feel comfortable.
Yes.
You have created an environment where they have somewhere to hide, as well as, finding food to eat as well.
Right. And I always say to people, because when I did law, there is a civil maxim that is called the neighborly principle, where everybody has a duty of care. And so that duty of care is that you have to make sure that your action does not create a nuisance or create injury to the person. So that is a very a fundamental principle, that you always have to think about what your action will result and how it will how it will affect the other person next door. And so that is what is thing, no? Right, so we are really running out of time. We have just about a few more minutes, and I will want to give you the opportunity to wrap up. But we have a call. Yeah, we'll take this call. Hello, good morning. You're on Policing with You.
Yes, good morning. Pleasant Tuesday morning to everyone there.
Yes, morning.
I don't believe I misunderstood. I think I heard clearly. Was solid waste a part of this morning's session?
Well, the intention was for a representative to be here this morning, yes.
So were they informed?
Well, they were informed, let me say that.
And nobody sent an apology to say that they couldn't make it due to whatever circumstance?
Well, I don't think it will be proper for me to just respond to your interview questions in relation to that. What I'm saying is that an invitation was extended. I do not know what logistical challenge might have been posed. So that is what, but it's important to note that the whole initiative is a collaborative one between the police, Solid Waste Management Corporation, and the Department of Health and Environment.
And I understand you clearly.
Yes.
Now, the reason for me to be asking the questions is this, because as you just clearly pointed out, that solid waste is an important role. And it would have been very nice for them to be there to answer some of the questions or to help you to sort through some of the questions that person calling to ask. And the reason why I asked was someone happened to mention that they were not unable to attend was the fact that seeing that they had to be there, no one showed up. I would have thought that, it would have been across the board and said, unfortunately, next time, but this day is not there. But I think that in all aspects of the whole thing, with everything that you're saying, especially the removal of vehicles and taking over to solid waste and stuff like that, that someone should have been there this morning to represent that department in order to answer certain questions that people would like to get answered. Also, including with the rodents and things like that, I hear you clearly with everything you say. Our problem is that I think over the years we had left too many things slide in the sense of the cleaning up, the streets, the places where people go to sit and eat and to hang out. We just let it slide, and now it's way, way out of hand. I'm hoping that one day we could get it back to some kind of normalcy, which is going to take a lot of work in doing. I also heard about the gentleman, one of the police officers there, said that he would, a cleaner would say that I just cleaned that area this morning and now it's littered in trash and, filth and stuff like that, garbage, One of the problem is, I thank him very much for saying that, I'm going to say this. We need to look at the equipment that we are giving the people to clean. You cannot clean drains with house brooms. We need wire brooms. We need box brooms. One of the problems is that. Well, no, one of the problems is the drains are not properly cleaned. We cannot clean with the right kind of brooms. That's it. The next problem is people are littering because when we see people do things, we don't reach out and we don't stop them. That's another problem that we have. Thank you very much for taking my call. You have a pleasant day.
All right, and you have a pleasant day as well. And so as we wrap up, just to indicate that this is an ongoing initiative, because I know that the police Facebook page, people have been inquiring and asking when will the police be coming to their area. But because I am the supervising officer for the Cairn Policing District, I know that traffic has been doing a similar exercise. And so my focus is in the Cairn district, which extends from Canada right up to Lajgot, at least I don't get mixed up with at least and
Large.
Yes, right. And so this is an effort that is ongoing. We prioritize, and I must say that this initiative came about, the urgency of it came about resulting from a town hall meeting that we had at the Cairn Primary School.
Which came about because of the change of the traffic.
Right, yes, the changes of the traffic restriction. And these were some of the concerns that were raised from residents. And so we always say that we want to do what we consider consent policing, in the sense that we engage you. You said what are the challenges you're having, and we try to address those challenges. And at the same time, we solicit the cooperation of all. And so we focus on Cunningham Estate. We are going to move through the general Keon area. Our next step will be Cabbage Tree, because from my own observation, I recognize that that is another festering area in terms of derelict vehicles. So the next stop is Cabbage Tree, as early as later this week, where notices will be placed on abandoned and derelict vehicles. And once we complete Keon area, then we are moving on to Lodge. And then we go to Atlees. So we'll clean up the entire district. And so this is a notice of removal verbally by way of radio that we are coming. And so we are at the same time we are soliciting your cooperation. And if anybody know how Officer Maguire do policing, Officer Maguire don't speak idly. Officer Maguire, once he says something happening, it's going to happen. You can be assured of that. And so we just want to continue to ensure that the communities are safe, and we alleviate every possibility, not only from a health standpoint, but also from a security and a crime prevention standpoint. And so we are soliciting your cooperation, and once we have your cooperation, then we know that half of our task is made easier. And so if there is anything in wrap
so
up,
just before we close, I just want to touch on an area that which the caller before would have talked about when it comes to the drain cleaners and the equipment that we give to the drain cleaners. No, we don't issue house booms to drain cleaners. We issue bus booms, the really hard ones, because we understand that the drains are difficult to clean. But in some areas, the drain cleaners would say that the boom is a little too big to get into the tight spaces. So they would put their own initiative and go and probably buy a house boom to help with that area, that specific area. But we don't issue house booms, we issue the proper equipment so that the job can be done properly. I also wanted to touch on, future initiatives we might have with the police going forward. Spoke to you about something that we hope to get
the overgrown grass.
Not just the overgrown grass, but some of these same abandoned houses, which the lady would have talked about. Because the abandoned houses are not only a health issue for the same rodents, they breed mosquitoes, because you have pools of water in the area with all the build-up of grass and bush and trees and stuff like that. And you only need just a little stagnant water for the mosquitoes to start to breed. Now, not only that, but it's a security risk on your end where you have places for persons to hide things and so. So with the help of the police, this initiative started with derelict vehicles, but we would like to go further and bring, as the caller before said, bring back some normalcy to the different districts or to the island of St. Kitts, where we could go back to being 100% proud of everything that we are doing and 100% proud of the island and a whole, and the general cleanliness and just getting things done. And for people to understand that it's not about being an environmental health officer, it's not about coming and throwing the book at you or coming and being hard on you or it's just about helping not just you but the entire community, the entire area to be better. Like I told, up to this week I was doing some inspections and a lady was speaking to me and she said, you all don't give chances. But I said it's not a matter of giving a chance, it's a matter of getting the problem dealt with. So if I'm gonna always come and give you a chance, then the matter would never get dealt with. And so we just want to say it's not about being hard on you, trying to make money or anything like that. It's about you doing what's right, complying with the laws, and it's just general cleanliness, general healthiness for a healthier nation, for a healthier community, for, you know, just to have a beautiful area for us to enjoy and for your family to enjoy and different generations going on.
And it's the same thing with policing. All we just want is compliance. We have the responsibility to enforce the laws, but we will rather compliance, that natural obedience to the law. And so where that doesn't happen, then we have to enforce. And so this has been another edition of Policing with You. We thank you all listeners. And until next week when we will join you again, I am Sergeant Matthew Maguire saying goodbye. And thanks, Mr. Marksman, for
Thank you for having
doing
me.
so well.
Thank you for
Yes. Okay.
Why